Last week's Ask Cristen, a commenter complained that I didn't look professional enough in the video. Nothing screams professional like, well, a tie, right? Your questions and the sun rising right now as we speak after the intro. Last week's Ask Cristen, I asked one of the most important and contentious questions in human history, which is, does it hurt more to have a baby or get kicked in the testicles? Your responses were nothing short of entertaining, so for that, dear viewers, I thank you. Fake Geek Girl, for instance, weighed in. Another thing is that people seem to act like it doesn't hurt at all or doesn't hurt much when a girl gets hit in the crotch. Do you think the female crotchal region is just numb to pain? Because that on its own is still painful, even without bringing childbirth into the question. You are correct. Getting punched or kicked in the vagine area, that's French for outside vagina. Don't even tell me again, commenters, that the outside is called the vulva. I do know what my genitals are called. Next comment comes from Christian Rodriguez. As a man, I would have to say, in my honest opinion, and please be honest, giving birth would hurt more than being kicked in the balls. However, you give birth what? 1 to 3 times in your life, and maybe even never, but being kicked/hit in any way in the balls is pretty much a weekly concern, and it is extremely painful still. So I would agree with ASAP Science and call it a tie. That is a great point, Christian. Your balls are constantly at risk of getting bonked. That does score 1 point for the testicle side of things. So this week's Ask Cristen question actually doesn't come from comments, but from an email that viewer Sam sent me. In the dating world, when a man wants to have sex early on with a woman he is attracted to, he will often get a response that goes something like this: I am not that kind of girl and need to get to know you better. Isn't that the biggest lie any woman can tell a guy? Let's believe her statement for a second. Yes, Sam, let's do believe a woman's statement when she says she doesn't want to have sex. Seriously. Is she really asking us to believe that if the man who wanted to have sex with her immediately was Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom, George Clooney, etc., she would give him the same response? Is she also asking us to believe that out of the roughly 150 million men in the USA that she would not be that kind of girl with any of them? So let's try to break this down as much as we can, because there's a lot going on in this question. Why are you gonna assume that every woman who wants to delay sex is lying? That's a real slippery slope to non-consensual behavior. Let's play devil's advocate for just a minute and say that women are at least not as forthright about their desires for sex and sexuality. This is different than saying that in the heat of the moment, if a woman says no, she doesn't mean no. I'm just going to assume that she means no. Best that you do too. If you look at studies of sexual partners and sex acts, there is a gender gap. Men tend to report higher numbers of sex partners and higher numbers of different kinds of sex acts they have engaged in. Researchers suggest that it has to do with a little thing called slut shaming, Sam. Even today, in the era of birth control and hooking up, there still remains this double standard wherein women having sex carries a larger penalty of negative judgments compared to men who want to go out and have sex. In the cost-benefit analysis of the economics of sex, women have this one little line item called risk of pregnancy. At least give women the benefit of the doubt, if only for biological purposes. I also want to know whether we're supposed to believe that women would immediately want to jump into bed with Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom, or George Clooney. Why are you assuming that every single woman is exactly the same? I can guarantee you that in those A-list Hollywood circles, that there are plenty of women who would actually delay sex with those men. You could flip this though and say, well, if you put female celebrities in there, how quickly would men jump into bed with them, or women jump into bed with them? That is not an example of how women are all lying liars. It's more an example of the power that celebrity wields within our society. Finally, you want to know, is she asking us to believe, she being, I guess, this like universal female, all of the men in the United States, she wouldn't be that kind of girl with any of them. She doesn't want to be that kind of girl with you. She wants to get to know you more, and then maybe she's gonna have sex with you. That's called dating. And judging someone negatively, as you are in this case, based on a sexual history that you do not know, is really slut-shamey. And I wanted to talk about this question from Sam, not to throw Sam under the bus, but because I see these similar kinds of troublesome lines of thinking, we'll call it that, around the internet. Sam, you're not alone in making these assumptions about women not meaning what they say when they say no. We need to talk about this, especially in the United States. We don't talk about it enough because women are still often scared to. So don't be scared. Comment below. And as always, let me know your questions for next week.